Welcome to the Halligans and Half Wheel Podcast, presented by Box 1971, where we're changing the culture of the fire service one fireman at a time.
Well, thank you, Matt Pirano, for that great introduction. For those that don't know the voice of Matt, he is the new Bruce Buffer in Vegas. He is 100% the real deal in the MMA. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening from wherever you are in the world. This is the Halligans and Half Wheels podcast, brought to you by Box 1971, where we're changing the culture of the fire service one fireman at a time. We are in the Fueled by Milwaukee studios. Milwaukee, nothing but heavy duty. I am going to light up a halftime cigar by Karen Berger. This is her latest creation. It came out during football season. Absolutely great little cigar. Maduro wrapper, Esteli binder and filler. Find one at your local tobacconist. Joined in the Fueled by Milwaukee studios by my golfing buddy, cigar buddy, whatever you want to call him. Had to convince him to come over and be on the podcast because he is one of the most interesting men I have ever met. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to my friend, my golfing buddy. He always says, listen to your caddy, Piers Slinger.
I am his caddy, that's for sure. Listen to your caddy. How are you, my friend?
Brother, it is a new year. Spring is around the corner. I am ready to go golfing.
Yes, sir. Indeed, the weather has cooperated. A little cool right now, but the weather is definitely cooperating. No snow yet, at least not in the forecast, that's for sure.
Well, I'm ready to go to Scotland. I don't know about you.
Oh, no, sir. No, sir. That's a little bit too far and a little bit too... That's cooler.
Cool.
I'll pass on that one. Thanks.
No worries. So, Piers, you have had quite a life. You have lived.
Yes, sir. You could say so. I'm not. I'm an island boy. I come from the.
You're not one of them singing kids, are you?
No. And I won't degrade myself that much. But yeah, I'm an island boy from the Caribbean. And here's a pet peeve of mine when I say Caribbean. It's not Caribbean like Americans say. It's the place is Caribbean. People from the Caribbean or Caribbean. That's the difference. People like to say, "You're from the Caribbean?" No, sir, I'm from the Caribbean, but I am Caribbean. So that's how it goes. So the island of Grenada lies about 100 miles or so off the coast of Venezuela, South America, and I was born, lived there all my life. I went to school, mainly the main bulk of my school. I was in Barbados, which is an island which is about 150 miles to the northeast of Grenada. And I went there to school from the age of 10 till I was 18 under the English system of education. So yeah, I've been pretty much all around the Caribbean when I left when I was 18 years old and came to the United States.
Holy cow, there's some shit to unpackage there.
Yes, sir.
So, growing up in Grenada, what was that like?
It's a tourist trap, as you can well imagine. Most of the islands down there are tourist traps. It's a tropical island paradise. Probably the coldest temperature I'd ever experienced before coming up to the States was 75. Was probably the coldest I'd ever experienced. Nothing but sun, sand, and sea. Whenever it rained, we'd call it liquid sunshine. So it's beautiful. It's a tourist trap down there. Like I said, 75 degrees until I saw my first snowfall in 1975 when I went to school at Tennessee. Yes, I'm an SEC guy and went from 75 to 79. Loved Tennessee, and it was my mom who picked out the school. Don't ask me as far as, well, what brought you to Tennessee? She wanted a place that was pretty temperate, not too warm, not too cold, but I could experience all four seasons. So Tennessee was it. So that's where I went to school for the next 4 years.
Holy shit. So you graduated in Grenada from high school?
From Barbados.
Barbados, I'm sorry.
Yep. Barbados is where I went to school. I went to boarding school, an all-boys boarding school in Barbados. It was called the Lodge School. And the English system of schooling is different.
Now, when you say English, do you mean English like
British?
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. We didn't have grades, or you don't have kindergarten. Then you have elementary, middle school, high school. Our middle and high school were together, where at the age of 10, when you're in middle school, I was at the same school from 10 years old to 18 when I graduated from high school, and then came up to the States and went to college at Tennessee.
So, what did you do for fun growing up as a kid? I've never been to Grenada or Barbados or anywhere. So,
All water sports, my friend. All water sports. I was a fish. I lived in the water. What else did I played a lot of tennis. In fact, that's where I started my tennis career, if you will. I loved playing varsity tennis in high school, and I played a lot of soccer. But I took my tennis abilities into college, where I played D1 tennis at Tennessee, and enjoyed it very, very much. And from there, spouted off to two different careers, and here I am now with you, my friend.
well, we're gonna hit rewind here. I think that's going to be the theme here. So, you grew up there,
Correct.
played some soccer, some tennis.
Right. Did a lot of swimming. That
Coldest
was,
you ever felt
it
was
was
75.
75 degrees. Yep, that's it. It was a like I said, a true island boy. In fact, Grenada's only 12 degrees off the equator, so it's very, very warm. But the only downfall to living there is, as you know, that's where all the hurricanes and stuff, all the tropical storms are born when they come across the Atlantic from Africa to the Caribbean. So I experienced quite a few tropical storms and hurricanes while growing up in Grenada and Barbados.
Now, did it ever have the complete, I guess, wipeout effect?
Oh yeah, well, not one Hurricane Janet, which struck Grenada in 1954, well before I was born or my mom and dad met. They the island pretty much wiped out Grenada, and then we had another bad storm that wiped out Grenada, Hurricane Ivan. If you'll probably remember that one in 2004, 5, around that time period, where again it wiped out the island of Grenada, like 95% of the island. But we came back strong, and then last year, oh gosh, I can't remember the darn name of the hurricane, but it came through, and it caught us one more time. So yep, from June 1 until the end of Octoberish, it can get pretty dicey with the storms. We had, like I said, coming up here to the States to experience the seasons. The only two seasons we had while growing up in Grenada was the wet season and the dry season, my friend.
Wow.
The dry season was from January to June. I mean, it was like a desert. No rain, no nothing. And then from June until the end of November, when the hurricane season was over, we'd have a lot of rain, but that was liquid sunshine to us.
That is crazy. I can't even imagine how that works out. That you would be. I can't imagine the transition from being a kid on an island.
It took. I tell you what, the two cultures. The two cultures are definitely different from growing up in the Caribbean and island life compared to coming up to the big old US of A. It was a definite culture shock. For one example, which is pretty much a thing of today. Excuse me, as when I grew up in Grenada and in Barbados, the majority of the people down there are of African descent. In other words, 85 to 90% of the people down there are African, black colored skin. So therefore, that was I did not see color. I did not know much about color. It Everyone was one of the same. It did not affect me in the least until I came up to the United States, and I learned of the. It was a cultural shock as far as the difference and the way people treated each other from one culture to the other. I did not see that because I never saw color growing up in that neck of the woods.
What year did you come up?
I came up in 1975. It was my freshman year when I went to college.
Wow.
1975. So when I was born, and should I say the year I was born?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want, buddy.
All right. In 57, 1957. Don't get smart and say 1857. But 1957 to 75, I only knew of island life. I only knew of one culture. I only knew of dry season, wet season, and the rainy season, I should say. Dry season and rainy season, until I came to the United States, and it completely changed my outlook on life, the way I think now, the way I behave. I had to reprogram my head. I had to rewire my brain as far as to be able to fit in to the American culture.
Sure. So before we leave the islands, this is a fire service based training podcast.
Sure.
But buddy, we've talked to people that have nothing to do with fire engines, and that's kind of the beauty of this thing, is we just talk about things. But what was it like there? Was there a national fire service, or
they did have, yes, they have they do have a fire department down there, but we're here in the States. Every town, every municipality, if you will, every city has a fire department. Everything in Grenada sits under one umbrella, if you will.
Okay.
One fire department, one union. And Grenada is only an island. It's a 3-island nation. You have Grenada, you have Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. And of the 3 islands combined together, we're only a population of about 133,000 people. So it's small. Grenada itself is 133 square miles, 21 miles long, 10 miles wide. So there's not too much to cover as far as the fire department or fires are concerned. Right. Every little town, of course, we had little substations, but they all fell under one umbrella for any fire needs that might be needed throughout the island.
That's crazy. And then let's talk about cuisine growing up. A lot of fresh cuisine. Fresh cuisine. Well, that's tough to say.
I never knew anything about. Well, everything in Grenada is imported. Everything, as you can imagine, we growing up in Grenada is quite expensive because everything is imported into the island. The only thing that we get fresh, if you will, and what I grew up a lot with is fish, the best fish in the world. I mean, tuna, red snapper, shark, dolphin. And when I say dolphin, I don't mean flipper dolphin, not the porpoise, but they're called dolphins. So yeah, all fresh fish. If I wanted a steak or anything, it was very rare that I had one because cattle and beef, the beef industry was nil in most of the islands in the Caribbean until I came up to the States and got to experience what that was like.
That's crazy. So a lot of, like, what else did you have with the fish? Like, was there a source of starch?
Yeah. Well, the same stuff you'd eat here. Good old baked potato, French fries, or that type of stuff. Your vegetables and all that, but mainly good old solid fish. Grenada is a breeding ground for lobsters, so we had a lot of lobster. And then another island neighbor of ours, you probably heard of, it's called Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
Which lies about 90 miles south of us. They grow a lot of shrimp, so there's a lot of bartering going on where we would exchange a lot of our lobster, which is grown in Grenada, with the folks of Trinidad and Tobago who they farmed a lot of shrimp, so we would exchange and get our shrimp from them. They'd get the lobster from us. So yeah, I was spoiled in that manner.
So a lot of, and again, this is just pure ignorance asking. So like the boats that would go out and get fish, gasoline boats, hand powered boats.
Oh, buddy, we're talking. I don't want to say dinghy size, but I mean, you'd have some good sized trawlers, regular trawlers that you'd see go out there, 50, 60-foot trawlers. But the majority of boats that went out there were no bigger than, say, 25, 30 feet. They actually look like little rowboats with a little outboard engine stuck on the back of it, and
Something you and I'd put around the pond with.
buddy, you wouldn't get me out there in those things. I'd be scared as you know what. But yeah, they'd take their nets out there, and a lot of these fishermen, that was their way of making it through in life, and getting their income. That type of thing was from the fishing industry.
A lot of generational hand-me-down stuff, like you're going to be a fisherman, your dad was a fisherman.
Pretty much so. And like I was saying at the very beginning, how Grenada and a lot of the islands are tourist traps. Grenada was also known as and it's still known as the Isle of Spice. For a little island that's 21 miles long and 12 miles wide, we are, I think, the second largest producer of nutmeg and mace in the world. The second largest. A little island like that. So the majority of mace and nutmeg that you get here in the States has probably come from Grenada. I think the number one is Indonesia or something like that. Don't quote me, but I think Indonesia is number one, and we're number two. So we get a lot of spices grown in our backyard, and I grew up with very, very spicy, as far as hot spice, peppers, that type of thing. So yeah, it was
Now, is that because of the electricity situation? Not everybody having fridges?
No. Well, that's a good thing. The majority of these little they call them shanty houses, which was nothing more than a tin roof with 4 walls, that type of thing. It's a third world country. There are a lot of people up in the hills and stuff. They lived in little shanty houses. But growing up I was very fortunate. My mom and dad provided very well for me. So growing up in that type of atmosphere, if you will, and culture is what made me really appreciate what it was like, coming to the United States and appreciating what I came from, and experiencing a whole way new of life.
So, mom and dad, what did they do for a living?
Well, here's my dad was a businessman. My mom, she was a nurse. She was a scrub nurse. She was a scrub nurse in the Second World War.
Wow.
And funny thing, my dad was a businessman. He used to work before he started his own business. My dad was with the brewery industry with Carib. That was the name of the beer that they made in Grenada, Carib beer. And when I was born, my mom, who could be pretty, she could influence you pretty much, but she insisted that I have pasteurized milk and whatever. And like I said before, everything in Grenada was imported. So we didn't have any, there was no dairy as such, and no pasteurized milk. The only milk that we had was imported again. So my dad took it upon himself to start his own dairy, which was called Bestlait, Bestlait, which stands for Best Milk, lait in French, milk. And he started it through a little shack in the back of our house with a little, like I said, this is back in '57. And he started his own dairy industry where he'd have all the local farmers bring up milk from their cows. My dad would pasteurize the milk, and then he quickly grew, making not only milk but ice creams and eggnogs and all kinds of dairy products. And it bloomed. It was the very first dairy in the entire Caribbean back in '57 that made pasteurized products.
Okay.
So my dad put himself on the map with that, through my mom insisting that I have pasteurized milk, so that I
the nurse center took over, huh?
There you go. So it bloomed from that, a little shack in the backyard, to a full bloom dairy, which was moved to the capital, St. George's, which is the capital, and that's what my dad did. So he was in the dairy industry.
That's crazy. In a little bitty island.
Yep, a little bitty island. Very first one in the Caribbean, and so I'm really proud of that. And yeah, my dad was recognized through the Chamber of Commerce of Grenada, and he was awarded the CBE, which is Command of the British Empire award from Queen Elizabeth, right below being knighted for the business industry.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Excuse me as I enjoy this cigar you gave me, my friend.
Yeah, what are you smoking? You smoking a Gurkha, you think? Is that what that is?
Good Maduro, my friend. Good Maduro.
That's good. That's good. Chief Eddie Cox from Lumberton, he goes with us quite a bit, and we teach for him. He gifted us some of those, and I can't smoke everything that I get, so I have to share.
I got to be careful, because if my cardiologist heard this, she'd have a fit if she knew I was doing this.
Nah.
But you live once, right, my friend?
Yeah,
you live once.
We only get to go around one time.
Yes, sir.
So, when was the last time you were back?
Last time I was back to Grenada, it's been a while. It's been maybe 6-7 years since I was back home in Grenada. Me and my other half, I take her around to other islands in the Caribbean. The last trip we made was a couple of years ago. We like to go a lot to San Juan, Puerto Rico, so we venture down there. The next trip we plan, hopefully this year, I'd like to take it to Barbados, my old stomping ground, where, like I said, where I went to school, and let her see what my growing up, my true growing up years was all about.
Well, she's a treat too.
Oh yes,
she is an absolute treat.
She keeps me honest. She keeps me very, very honest. That's for sure.
That, the dogs and the cats, I'll keep you very honest.
Oh my goodness, let's not get into that.
So you graduate high school. How does that look going to? I mean, you've never been outside of.
Correct. Well, I mean, I'd traveled before. I'd come up to the States a couple times before graduating high school to visit my mom's family. They were from New Jersey. My mom was. I'm what's known as a derived citizen from day one. I am an American citizen, but it's derived through having parents that are American citizens. So I got it through my mom's citizenship, and she was from New Jersey.
Okay.
She was from Hackensack, a town called Hackensack in New Jersey, and then the majority of her family used to live in Ridgewood, New Jersey. But yep, that's
really cool.
When I moved here in '75.
And you went to Knoxville, of all places.
K-Town. Yes, sir.
How did that happen?
Well, actually, the thing about it is, I also went to school. It's a college called Tusculum. When I went, it was Tusculum, Tusculum College, but it has grown so big right now. It's known as Tusculum University, which was in Greenville, Tennessee, which is where it started out, and it's a town of about an hour and a half or so north of Knoxville, good old K-Town. But yeah, that's where I spent my 4 years there. So, I'm part of Tennessee is in me, and that's when I graduated. That's when I started my new gigs in life.
So, how did you used to have? I wish we could show the audience what kind of hair you used to have.
Oh my God,
the '70s were wild, man.
Ooh,
you look like a Q-tip.
Let me tell you, I had I had wavy hair growing up, but my an old girlfriend of mine when I was in college gave me a perm, and I grew not an afro. It was called an afraid. I used to scare the crap out of people. It was big, woolly, and I mean, when I walked, it would bounce off of my shoulders. Man, I had the full, blowfly shaft-looking haircut. Looking. So it was. I used to call it an afraid. Yeah. So, but after leaving college, we trimmed it down and had it look a little bit more respectable. Kind of shocked the what out of my mom and dad when they came to my graduation. You're seeing this mop bouncing off of my shoulders. Yes, sir.
So you play tennis all 4 years?
I did. Yep. In fact, my junior and senior year, I then became the tennis captain, and so I loved the sport of tennis, And then after leaving college, graduating college, I gave up the sport. I gave up being, that's when I had enlisted into the Air Force, where I retired. But from the time I left college till the time I got out of the Air Force, I did not touch a tennis racket until I met up with a couple new buddies of mine who played. They talked me into it, got back into the sport, and then I picked it up again.
So how do you feel about this pickleball craze?
But I have tried it once. A good friend of mine, when I used to live in Charlotte, got me into the sport of pickleball. And the thing about it is, I knew nothing about the sport, know nothing about the rules until I heard terms like the kitchen and this crap. I have no idea what it means, but thought I was playing tennis and smashing and just driving balls and people. I was running people off the court because they thought I was one crazy ass dude. Just lost my mind, and I was having a blast. But it hasn't really. I haven't really caught on to it yet. I really haven't. I've played it a couple times, but it's not my racket.
I remember playing it in high school, and we we played. It was called back then. I think it was called paddleball, and
Oh yes. I
Yeah.
remember Pat. Yes.
yeah, and then so like the now it's this like country clubs like the one that we belong to are building courts and people are playing and traditional tennis is kind of
Don't know if I'm gonna pick it up, buddy.
I don't think I am either.
Don't know if I'm gonna pick it up. A couple people have asked me to. At the club, have asked me to come play, put a racket in my hand. They want me to give a couple ladies clinics and stuff like that. Thinking about it, but
That's all the further you've gotten.
That's as far as when I left when I used to work in Wyoming, Cheyenne, and I left Cheyenne at the end of 2001
Okay.
until 2007 when I moved to upstate New York, Albany. I used to teach tennis. I used to, for 7 years, I used to teach, and this is my good buddy who got me into it. The name of the club was Tri-City Tennis, Tri-City Fitness, I should say, which was in Latham, 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 New York, just outside of Albany. And I used to teach tennis for 7 years.
Wow.
And then when I left in 2007 and went to Charlotte, where I started another career, I haven't picked up a tennis racket again since then. So it's been 18, almost 19 years since I've picked up a tennis racket.
Wow.
But from 75 to 79, when I was in college, I slept tennis 24/7.
So we graduate college. We we get on our way. What's the first stop for a job?
What I did was my degree was in commercial art. I wanted to get into advertisement. Advertising was interesting to me, so I got my bachelor's in business. My uncle, who was in the advertising field, took me under his wing for about a year after graduation, and he mentored me for a year. And then while I was doing that, I've always had a passion for flying. Ever since a little kid, loved to go hang out at the airport, ride my bike to the airport, and watch planes, take off and land. And I went and saw a recruiter, Air Force recruiter. He talked me into it, and I enlisted into the Air Force April 16th of 1980, and there I went to ground school and learned. I started learning how to fly for my private pilot's license, and it's always been a passion of mine. So I've retired from the Air Force, where I spent 20 years and about 8 months, just short of 21 years.
Wow.
So, yep, that was one of my careers that I did.
So where was your favorite duty station in the Air Force?
I started off, my first duty station was in Wichita, Kansas, where, of all places. And I was stationed at McConnell Air Force Base from 1980 to the end of 82. And then I went from there, I was stationed in England, where I went to Suffolk County, where I was at RAF Lakenheath for another 2 years from 83 and 84. And then I came back to the States in 85, where I was stationed at uh, in Cheyenne, Wyoming, at Warren Air Force Base.
The wind never stops blowing.
Oh my gosh! You talk about cold. Holy smoke! But yep. So I was stationed there from 85 and 86, and I loved England so much that I asked to go back. And so the Air Force being accommodating, they said, "Yeah, we'll send you back overseas, but we're going to send you on an extended long tour." And I got married over there on my second tour, so I went over there for an extended tour. Instead of going for 2 years, I was over there for 4. Where my second tour was at RAF Upper Hayford in England, which is in Oxfordshire. And so I spent a total of 6 years in England. So I got to see the entire United Kingdom. I got to see all of Europe. So I was very fortunate to. The Air Force gave me that opportunity to do a lot of traveling.
So the Air Force gave you the opportunity to go to the home of golf.
Oh, yes. That was one thing I very much wanted to do. And I wasn't really much into golf at that time. When I say into it, I had played as a kid at a country club when I used to live in Grenada. But when I got to England, I met up with a couple buddies of mine that I got very, very chummy with when I was in the Air Force. And the 4 of us we took a trip up to Edinburgh, and we went up to St Andrews in Scotland, where we stayed at the St Andrews Hotel.
Yeah.
And we got to play, at the time, I don't know how many courses there are right now, but at the time I got to play all 4 courses that were there at St Andrews. I got the old course, the new course, the Eden, and the Jubilee.
That's correct.
Which were the only 4 courses at the time. I don't know what they've built up since then. But at that time, oh my gosh, I could play a round of golf on the old course. It was maybe like 35, 45 pounds a round, but you had to have a caddy. There were no golf carts. You couldn't ride. You couldn't do anything, but you had a caddy with you. And like I said, it was 35, 45 pounds for a round of golf at St Andrews. But this was back in the mid 80s, so we're talking 40 something years ago. You can probably multiply that by 10 now for the cost of everything.
I think right now for someone that's not a member of the Links Trust, I do believe that it's 450 pounds for a round.
And there you go.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So I went at the right time when I was there.
Well, it's crazy because you before I went last year, I played in the St Andrews Classic. And we had spent, in my mind, we spent hours. I don't know what we did. But
isn't that the most beautiful countryside? You're right. The Links. You're right next to the ocean. I mean, when it's low tide, it goes out literally about a mile.
Yeah, mile.
And you can walk. You can run your dogs. Whatever pet you had, you could ride them out. You could run them out at least a mile before you'd hit water.
Right.
And then the high tide came in, and the water would come right up to the shore. That was just amazing, seeing the difference in tides and stuff there.
So I'm going back to play in the same tournament in April, first week. The tournament ends on a Friday, and guess where we end up on Friday? We end up walking up the old course.
God bless. Yep.
So we're staying at the old course.
Yes, sir. That's
Matt,
nice.
who instructs for us, is going to go play. So we are both just ecstatic to go. The hard part about links golf is people don't understand. It's not the same. The greens are not the same.
fairways,
no.
not a tree in sight.
No.
There is nothing.
But there's bushes.
A lot of thistle, a lot of feathery type grass that's on the fairways that'll reach you up to your waist level. It's just amazing. Pot bunkers. I mean, bunkers that are you're in 6, 7, 8 feet deep. It's great. It's beautiful. It's a completely different way of golf, and it's your outlook is completely different than what you'd have here in the United States.
Yeah, so they have added a couple courses to the trust, to the public trust, the Links Trust, and for those that have never been to St. Andrews or have learned about golf, something that's amazing about St. Andrews is that on Sunday golf is forbidden.
Oh,
And
I didn't know that.
It actually becomes a park. So when you walk out on the course on a Sunday, you'll see people walking their dogs, and people are very respectful, and they pick up their waste. And
On the actual course?
yes, yeah, they just
Wow.
they stay off the greens, but they can walk, and you see tons of people just taking pictures at Swilk and Burn, and going to Hell Bunker.
Yes.
I was there when we were able to bid on the lottery system to play it backwards as it was originally intended. And you want to talk about an ass kicker, because the bunkers, as we know them now, you play into them, you can see them mostly, right? When you play it backwards as it was designed by old Tom Morris, most everything's blind. And so you are literally what you thought was a big fairway, because fairways typically start out narrow and widen out.
Yes.
Now you're going wide to narrow.
Yes.
Yeah. So ball control, ball flight with the wind is definitely different.
And there are no trees, nothing to help
No.
shelter you from that wind. It
And that's
blows.
where bunkers came from, was with the animals would dig burrows,
Yep.
because that was just the links land that linked the land to the ocean.
Oh
And
my god! So when you go, do you fly into Scotland, or do
so
you go to London?
I'll
first,
fly
or-
out of Raleigh Durham,
Yep.
and then I'll fly from Raleigh Durham to New York, and then New York catch a 777 into Edinburgh. I will never fly through Heathrow ever again.
Oh, smart!
Let me tell you about this right quick, so you can enjoy that cigar.
Right?
So last year, flyover, I'm nervous as a cat on a hot tin roof, because there's a lot at stake playing in a money tournament, right? And,
Oh yes.
You've linked up with your caddy on WhatsApp now, so you don't have to make long distance phone calls. You can call through the app, and it's free. So I link up with him, and I'm excited. That we didn't have to touch anything from the time you land to the time you get there. But when we get to Edinburgh, right? My clubs aren't there, and I had this sinking feeling in my stomach, like, oh shit.
They're in New York.
No, Lord, no, they were in Heathrow, because I flew American.
There's the
And
problem right there.
I flew American, and when you get to Britain or the United Kingdom, you switch over to British Airways. They're a partner. Well, they have a one-piece luggage rule. So my luggage made it with my balls and my shoes and my clothing.
Nothing to hit them with, though.
Nothing to hit them with. So Laird Shepherd, who won the British Amateur, who played in the Masters, was my shuttle guy.
Nice.
And he says, Jeremy, he's English, is super nice guy. He says, don't worry, we're going to take you to the hotel. So I go to the Old Course Hotel. I'm super bummed that my sticks aren't there, because I wanted to go practice.
Heck yeah.
And he comes up to me and he's like, we'll have everything done. I said, Laird, I had clubs that I wanted to get re-gripped at the shop before the shop closed today, because I had new wedges. Vokey came out with the oil can wedges, and I really wanted to play them over there. He says, are they in the bag? I said, yeah, everything's there. The tape's in there. Everything's there for me to do it. I was going to do it in the room. He says, don't worry. What do you mean, don't worry? He says, I'll take care of it, mate. They took my clubs, checked every loft and lie, everything, before
my
they brought them to the room.
gosh.
I get to the room. My hard shell case, SKG case, is sitting there. My clubs are sitting out
With new grips.
with new grips.
Ain't that nice?
Laird Shepherd, who played in the Masters, won the British Amateur, re-gripped my wedges for me.
Jesus, man, they should have lost your damn your clothes. You would have gotten new clothes, man.
And then,
That's nice.
Got to meet a guy that flew his own jet over, either from Finland or Sweden, I can't remember. Super nice, sweetheart guy. Not going to mention his name, because he is He's a well-to-do individual, but
Understood.
he. I said, well, when did you fly in? Where'd you fly into? And he looked across. He says, you see that tower over there? And I said, yeah. He goes, my plane's over there. He flew a Falcon in.
Oh, very.
I was like,
yeah. So he didn't have any money.
Yeah, so he had zero money.
Yeah, zero money.
He and I ended up drinking a lot of Ardbeg, which is what Miles at the club turned me on to.
Good old Scotch.
Yeah,
yes.
peaty.
Oh my God. Yeah, he let me try it.
Yeah,
It's like kerosene, man.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh my goodness,
It's like
man.
kerosene.
That's what it tastes like. It's like kerosene.
No, it's got a very peaty flavor. And for those that don't know what peat is, it's actual like peat moss, and they cut it into bricks and they dry it because of the lack of trees, and that's what they burn. And it has a very pungent, distinct smell and taste.
And taste, yes,
yeah,
it does.
so they make it on the, I can't remember where they make it. It's an Islay of something, but they make that out there, and it is, some people have called it rancid. I enjoy it. But he and I smoke cigars almost every day together, and he says, hey, I need you to meet me on the old steps. So the original steps going up to
the RNA?
To the RNA.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, what are we doing? He says, just meet me on the steps at this time. And I was like, okay. We played the castle course that day and got our asses handed to us. And for those that don't know the castle course, they're redoing the castle course because the greens are that tough. People are like, we can't play it. It's tough. Just the slope on it. I don't even know what the rating is, but it's crazy. And he says, just meet me there. So we stand there at the RNA, and I'm like looking out, watching guys tee off, and the weather was beautiful. 60 every day, sunny, no wind.
Very fortunate.
Yeah.
Very
praying for the
fortunate.
same thing this year.
Yes.
And we went in to the RNA. And people that live there have never been in. But this guy,
you got to go into the RNA.
Yeah.
Oh,
I got to see
wow.
the original belt,
That's a privilege.
the
right
original
there.
claret jug.
Yes. That's nice.
Yeah. So my caddy sends me a picture the other day. He is a caddy full time at King's Barnes. That's what he does now. He's retired. He's a caddy at King's Barnes, and he sent me a picture. They had the claret jug at the club, and so he took a picture and he goes, hey, and so I sent him back a photo, and I was like, hey, here's the original. And he was like, I've lived here for 54 years. I've never been inside that building. How the hell did you get inside?
Wow, that is something. Yep, because you have to be a member, right? Or,
Yeah, you have to be a member, and there's
right.
decorum,
Right. Mhm.
but it is very much, there's
a lot
mystique.
of tradition. Yes, a lot of tradition.
And you walk in, and people are very, it's amazing because, like, you stand out and you look, and you're looking at golf, the home of golf.
the home of golf. Yep.
It's like people that, with NASCAR, last month we had Jason Halteling on and his wife, and, going into Indianapolis and seeing the Motor Speedway or going to Daytona, it's very much that moment of, or walking into Fenway Park the first time, you see the history. When you see the original jug, and, I went into Tom Morris's old shop, which is now the Open Shop. His locker's still there. His vices are still there from the,
nice.
1800s.
Yes,
And
yes,
you're
yes,
just
yes.
like, holy shit, this guy built this place with a wheelbarrow and a shovel.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. But to actually be there and touch, the actual history of where it all started, that's excellent. That not many people can do that. Not many people can say that. Hardly anybody can say that they've been into the RNA and experience that. Wow.
I work
Excellent,
with a
my
guy
friend.
that says it'd be like that on them big jobs sometimes. And that's what I think of, But, you and I shared a lot of conversations about how to play links golf.
Mm-hmm.
And it's completely different than what we play here because the
Yes.
greens are very unforgiving.
Shot shaping. Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness.
Some shots are blind.
Oh, and playing into the wind, with the wind, and you could hit 150-yard drive with the wind just hitting right into the teeth of the wind.
Right.
Then you could have the wind behind you, and you're flushing 350-yard drives.
Been there.
Wishing you could do that all the time.
And you're at sea level.
Exactly.
If it was 90 degrees at sea level, boys, we'd have this thing licked.
Now I used to play, like you said, sea level when I used to live in Cheyenne. When I was at F.E. Warren Air Force Base, I played a lot of golf there, and Cheyenne is high. It's just below 6,200 feet up above sea level. It's like 600 feet higher up than Denver. But I mean,
I didn't know that.
oh yeah, with the air being about 15-20% thinner up there, the thing about it is you could, if you hit a drive, you could hit 350, 400-yard drive. I remember back in my 30s hitting 350, and this is no lie, 350, almost 400-yard drives because of the air being that thin. I mean, you could put a ball on the fringe of a 400, 420-yard par four, and I mean, you'd just be chipping, have a 20, 30-yard chip onto the green because the air is so thin, and you could feel it. I mean, you can't to exercise and do stuff up there. It takes a lot out of you because you get winded very, very quickly at that height.
Yeah.
And it was great playing golf at that.
You felt like a hero.
Right. So I understand when you say at sea level, man, hitting a 350-yard drive, but that's with the wind completely behind you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that is it's an amazing experience for those that love golf. I mean, it's just I can't wait to go back.
No other nothing better in life than that, my friend.
Yeah. No, it's definitely that. So you get done in Cheyenne,
Correct.
and then you're headed where? You're married?
And then, like I said, I went for 4 years back to excuse me. I went for 4 years back to RAF Upper Hayford in Oxfordshire, and then I stayed there till the end of 91 when I came back to the States, and then I came back to F.E. Warren in Cheyenne, because that's where my wife that I had met the second time, the first time back at F.E. when I went to F.E. Warren from Lakenheath in '86. I met my wife there. So her being from Cheyenne, I wanted to go back to her homeland so she could be with her family, that type of thing. And then in '91, I left the active service and I joined the Wyoming Air National Guard, where I did about 10 more years so I could get my 20 years in towards retirement.
Okay.
So I stayed with the Guard until December of 2000. And then January of 2001, I left. That's when I retired out of the Air Force. And then from January of 2001 until August of '07, I ventured to Albany, New York, where I taught tennis. And
That's crazy.
yeah. And so the way I got into that is a cousin of mine who talked me into moving back with her. She was from Albany. She was a huge tennis buff as well. She played collegiate tennis. And don't ask me what, I can't even remember. Oh, Russell Sage. That was the name of the school. She went to Russell Sage University.
Okay.
And she very much a tennis buff. And when she got me back to Albany, we played a lot of tennis. Introduced me to who she was friends with the owner and the general manager of Tri-City Fitness, which was in Albany, and hooked me up with the job, knowing that I had played D1 tennis and was very much into it at the time. So I got a job there for almost 7 years, and that's when I said, you know what, this is not my bag. I just do not, nothing personal to you, buddy, but I can't stand the Northeast. The Northeast just not do it for me.
Yeah.
And that's when I met my my future wife at the time, and she had family down here in Charlotte, actually in Concord, and we came down January of '07 to visit her family, visit her sister and brother-in-law, and cousins of hers who lived in Concord. And I fell in love from the minute I hit Charlotte. I said, man, this is beautiful. So as we left, I said, would you like to move down here? Would you like to move to Charlotte? She thought I was pulling her you-know-what. I said, no, I'm serious. Would you like to do it? She said, I'd love to. In August of that year, here we were in Charlotte, and that's when I got back into law enforcement, which was my second career. Like I had said, I got into the Guard, and the reason why I got into the Guard when I was in Cheyenne in '91 is because I got a job with the Laramie County Sheriff's Office there, where I worked in the jail there for a couple of years, and and then I went onto the street. I was
They turned you loose, huh?
Yeah, they turned me loose, buddy, and then I became a street deputy for quite a long time, for about 10 years, and then so I was having an itching to getting back into it, so I joined the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
So that I was with them for 13, 14 years, and I retired from them in 2021, January 2021. So I got both my military retirement through the Air Force and state retirement through Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office. So thank you, Air Force. Thank you, Mecklenburg County.
And now
I'm living the life with you, buddy, at the Henderson Country Club, enjoying golf, nothing but golf and forever golf, buddy.
it's crazy because we'll just, hey, you want to eat at the Waffle House? Yeah, let's go golf.
Waffle House was the first time I'd ever touched a Waffle House food. Never been to a Waffle House until that very first time I went with you, my friend, and that was maybe 2 months ago, thereabouts. I've been alive for 68 years, and I've never ever set foot in a Waffle House until I did with you.
But it's good.
Oh my God, good greasy stuff, man.
Yeah, good Greasy Spoon. Because the Greasy Spoon restaurant downtown doesn't exist anymore.
No, but that's good food. That's good food. So yeah.
Well, the law enforcement aspect. Let's talk about you being a part of the first responder family. So
Yes,
you get on the streets, right?
correct.
How was that from a guy that came from an island,
Well, I tell you what.
been all over the world?
God bless, people do not have. I don't know if they really can appreciate first responder life and what it's like being a first responder. And when I first joined the law enforcement community, like I said, back in '91, when I was with the Laramie County Sheriff's Office in Cheyenne, Wyoming, back then, times have changed so much as far as respect for law enforcement, respect for the first responders compared to what it is now.
You bet.
Back then, I mean, the only fight you had was the actual call, going on call and fighting the bad guys and getting them off the street. And not whereas today there is no respect. There is no people have no regard for what it's like, being a cop, being a firefighter. It's a sense of entitlement for them.
Yeah.
They call you for help, and then you get there nowadays, and they'll cuss you out. They want to fight you. There is no respect whatsoever compared to when I joined back in '91. There was total respect for it, and in fact, that was one of the main reasons why I decided to retire earlier than I initially intended to back in 21, because of the lack of respect for law enforcement. And I'm sure it's the same way in firefighting, my friend, in that people, they see you respond, but you're so scrutinized with the world being as it is, with the advent of having phones with cameras on them and recording devices. Every little aspect of your life, every little move that you make is recorded, and it's thrown back into your face, and it's somehow twisted as far as what it's truly like and what it should be like. So yeah, that was one of my main goals one of my main reasons, I should say, for retiring, was the lack of respect, the lack of appreciation for us first responders, firefighters, and law enforcement.
Two things on that. I work with a guy that says there's a lack of home training with people. And
that's where it starts, buddy.
Yeah, there's a lack of home training.
100% truth in that.
And I love how he says it, because he says his little boy, it's I think 6 or 5, I can't remember. I know he had a birthday coming up or close, but so he's 5 or 6. And he says these people have lack of home training. Mm-hmm. And he's absolutely right. These people now, they expect us to, I don't mind helping people, but like we're not we're not water heater repairmen.
Exactly.
We're not, we're not a taxi service, on the ambulance side of the house. No. And it's very disheartening to see, firehouses that have to have cameras in them, everywhere.
Oh,
And
yes.
now the rigs have forward and rear facing cameras in them, just because of the liability of, people saying, well, he crossed center line. And I'll give you an instance at work. Our deputy chief was involved in a head on collision while we were fighting an arson fire. And we're stretching the line and we hear the wreck come out. We don't really think anything of it. We're doing a search and something comes across. One of the guys says, that's our chief in the wreck. We're putting the fire out. And all these people immediately get on social media, and the first thing they say is, the fire apparatus crossed the center line. Well, he had a camera, and he didn't cross no center line.
It's not just amazing.
And wasn't driving without due regard. The person just lost control of their car and came across the road and hit him. And it was a failure of physics, as Eddie says. But, from that, now we have cameras and everything. And if you're not wearing your seatbelt and you're not doing this, and it talks to you. And it's crazy because, on the opposite side of that, one of my really good friends, Mario, Miami-Dade Metro police pilot, he occasionally work the streets or second duty or whatever they call that. And he loves the camera because, he's able to record the interaction and show from the time he gets the call, he turns his camera on to the time he's done. And, he's got a digital witness. If you're not doing anything wrong, you don't have anything to worry about. But there is, I guess, apropos, time and a place. And, our entire job, I don't want people filming people's last moments on earth.
Exactly.
I don't want people, we're doing CPR on grandma or grandpa or an individual that has had their worst day. I don't want that memorialized and put out. I just don't think that's right. And we know if that is on the apparatus or a person's doing it, it becomes public record.
And the sad thing about the reality of it is our jobs, both as firefighters and law enforcement, is we have a job where we can't just say F it, to screw you, I'm leaving. We've taken an oath, and once we've responded, we have to complete it till it's done. Even though as we're getting our tails whooped, we're getting cussed at, whatever. It's that job where it's thankless. We don't have what's the word I'm looking for? You don't have that ability to say, well, screw you, man. I'm leaving. I don't have to take this. No,
right.
we have to be there.
We have to reach
respond.
metastasis.
We have to do exactly. We have to complete the job, be it as ugly as it is. And that's, it's thankless. And so people don't realize on the outside just what it's like responding to a job that's completely thankless, to where, you're not going to be recognized for it. But anytime I go to a restaurant or I see a first responder, God, that's what I will do is I will go up to them and give them, thanks, because they definitely deserve it. And they don't see it enough. Times have changed, the world has changed for the worse, and that's a bad thing to say. But from when you joined and when I joined, I'm sure it's the same for you. Things have gotten completely downhill.
Oh, things have changed since 1999 for me, for sure. And in my opinion, not for the better.
Oh, exactly. And like you said, it starts at home. And
home training
and that's there's another thing with this. You just breathe on a child, you're gonna be charged with child abuse or whatever. When I grew up, I grew up with the rod, brother,
because they didn't spare that rod.
My tail, I got a blazing from my dad. That. It was, and that's what respect is all about. You learn real quick. Nowadays, they could care less. You can have, kids are calling on their parents. They call out their parent. They can call the cops on you or whoever and have you charged for,
right. And you've got to go there because
exactly. Yeah. But you have to respond, and you have to do it.
That's not it's not a fun situation to be in, and the litigious nature of society has made it such that it is just, it's difficult. They, I can't remember who did the study, but I read it. The average career span of a first responder now, police, fire, EMS, is 5 years.
Oh my gosh.
So you go and you spend all that time getting, on our side, I'll say 240 hours for firefighter 1 and 2. You're going to spend another couple hundred hours doing EMT. You're going to do some hazmat stuff. By the time you're done, you're 700, 800 hours in of training.
Continuous training. That's
and
it.
then, poof, in 5 years, the majority
You're burned.
are gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The revolving door. Exactly.
And it's sad because it used to be, I know when I growed up, listen to how I spoke, growed up. When I grew up, the captain was the same captain my whole entire life, right? And the firemen promoted up.
Sure.
But I remember those guys being the same people. And now, you've got, you
don't know who half your team is anymore.
Yeah, and you don't know their abilities. It used to be guys would get together and hang out and do things together, and now it's guys are so burnt out that they want an outlet. I mean, I'll guarantee you, I'm one of them. Get off at 7.
Yes.
I'm on the golf course at 8:30 as soon as I can tee off because I don't want to be around people.
Exactly.
And it's not that I don't love people. For me, I want to be.
You have to vent, buddy. You have to, exactly.
If those golf carts could talk.
Oh, wow, boy, if they could, exactly. And then this new thing, the PTSD that a lot of us suffer from. The look back from when we started. The suicide rates for first responders was very, very low.
Right.
Very low compared to what it is today. It's the whole, and it's the situations in which we're put in, the way in which we're treated, it drives you off. It'll drive you off the edge. And the sad thing about it is, if you do commit suicide or whoever, whatever course of action you want to take, there is no the world sees it as, well, that's one less a-hole we have to deal with.
Right.
I've always lived by this one thing, my friend. I've always lived by this one rule, and that's never, ever, ever divulge your problems to the public. 80% of them don't care, and the other 20% are glad you have them.
Ooh, that's deep.
Think about that. So it's thankless, but I enjoyed it. I'm glad I did it. It brought me great joy, if you want to use that word, to help someone. You do tend to harden as far as your outlook on life, because my outlook on life has definitely hardened. I used to see quite a few things. I used to see a lot of gray, but not as much gray as I do black and white now.
Right.
It's either yes, no, right, wrong, and it's hard to see things in a gray matter as far as, there's a reason why this happened or did not happen. It's either you did it or you did not do it.
Correct.
Rather without getting all the circumstances, and that's probably one of the fallacies or one of the faults that we all have right now, is that the job has taught us to harden, if you will. Mm-hmm. Your hearts have hardened. And if people could only realize, the jobs that we do have, and appreciate that, we don't do it because we like it. We do it to help you, and get the public out of harm's way, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, there's there's something inherent about what our choices in vocation, right? And be it on our side, the fire side, career, volunteer, nobody cares, right? But
there you go, volunteers.
3/4 of this job in the United States is volunteer.
Yes.
And this business, we train, I would say we probably train just about 75-25 split of career versus volunteer. And a lot of the career guys, especially here in the South, will go volunteer at other departments. Now, the reason I feel that that's so prevalent is because the union, right? Union guys, you don't give away your trade for free.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on where you were raised and how that is, down here, guys will go leave one fire department and go work 12-hour, 24-hour shift, and then come back and do another shift. And I lost a good friend. His father has been on this podcast, Charlie Gray. But we lost Gus because he was coming from a fire department going back to work and was overworked. But what do you do when you got to pay the bills?
Yes.
And when you're given a limited set of skills, it used to be guys would go bang nails or, you know, build a deck or, some are barbers in bigger
Sure.
cities, they have an outlet. And a lot of those things have just kind of gone by the wayside. So having an outlet, I think that's why I love the game of golf so much. Plus, it connects me to my dad. It was something he and I did.
That's nice. That's
did
nice.
together.
Yes.
And then, you meet people in life that
You need an outlet.
Yeah.
You definitely.
a healthy outlet.
Yes, and as a first responder, that is probably, oh my gosh, I mean, job security. Yes, you do have the only two real job security careers that you do have is probably in being a first responder. There'll always be crime. There'll always be fires. There'll always be a response to save someone, and then in the medical field as well. So it's a career field where job security you don't have to worry about, but you get burnt out so bad so quickly, and you do need that outlet. Like you said, golf is an excellent way to release all the stresses that you have and just get out there with your buddies, enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
And if golf carts could only talk, because we've talked a lot of crap between the two of us, and given stories. So
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from, and you need that you need that outlet on life to get away from the reality of it all.
I know you've had a pretty long career. What's one of your most favorite Air Force stories?
Wow. I'm trying to. I got to travel. I got to travel quite a bit. I tell you what one that's it'll always be etched in my head was you remember Desert Shield, Desert Storm?
Yeah.
Back in 1991.
Yeah.
The mother of all wars. Well, I was involved in that.
Okay.
I remember, especially in the military, they always say to you, "Don't volunteer. Don't volunteer for anything. Let them pick you." Well,
Yeah.
the thing I'll always remember going to work. This was in August of '90. I was working the night shift from 11 at night till 7 in the morning, and my AFSC at the time. AFSC stands for Air Force Specialty Code. That was the job that I was in.
Okay.
I was in security, aircraft weapons security, and I remember going to work when we were in guard mount. Guard mount is the formal formation where we all get together, and the flight chief assigns posts and gives you all the orders of the day, tells you what's going on, what to expect for that shift. And I remember going to guard mount. We were all formed up, and 11 o'clock at night, and the flight chief goes in front of the podium, and a very somber look. He was very quiet, and we were all at attention. And the first words out of his mouth is, "I need volunteers."
Nope.
And we all looked around. We were all looking at each other. Me being the dumb, that I was, I raised my hand, along with my other three buddies that I used to play a lot of golf with. The four of us, there were about 11 of us, and we raised our hands, and he said, "Come with me." And the assistant flight chief took over, and we went back to his office. And he says to me, he says to us, he goes, "Guys, we're probably going to go to war." And we looked at each other like, "What the hell? What are you talking about?" And what it was at this time, it was the start of Desert Shield. That's when they were getting all the forces, everything ready for Desert Storm, which was to come back.
That was Kuwait, right?
It was the
Iraq.
Iraq, yeah.
Yeah.
Iraq, getting rid of Saddam Hussein.
Okay.
And what happened was, he says, "I need you all to go back home, get your Alice packs, the big, rucksacks. I need you to pack your A bags, your Alice packs, get everything ready. You got 2 hours. Meet me back here at the hangar." And back then we had a C-141, which was a transport cargo plane, came in and took us to Ramstein Air Force Base in Germany, where it had a C-5, and then it took us to to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, where we were at King Khalid Airport was our station. And the reason why we got to go is, like I said, I was in security, and we had at RAF Upper Hayford, we had EF 111s. EF stands for Electronic Fighter, and what those were radar jammers. So wherever those they were a priority A aircraft, a one of a kind aircraft, and because of it being one of a kind, we went wherever they went. We had to guard them, and they used our squadron of EF 111s at RAF Upper Hayford to go block the radar sites of Saddam Hussein.
Wow.
So we went to King Khalid, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia with them, and that memory has always been etched in my head when we had to do that. And the thing about it is, other than that, a very few bad memories, if you will. The majority of it was all good. The traveling, can't complain about the traveling.
They say if you're in the Air Force, that's the way to go.
Oh gosh, yes. I mean, the thing about the thing about the air, people always make fun of the Air Force, and it's not the Army. It's hoorah! It's not the Marines. But whenever any conflict starts, who are the first ones there? The Air Force. We started off. They're the first ones to get called to get things initiated. So, that's a memory.
2 hours to go.
2 hours to get your stuff together. Yeah. So that's one memory. But it's
I know
it's
people
all
couldn't get their shit together in 2 days.
Oh boy, so yeah. Well, the thing about it is luckily our the Alice packs were pretty much already packed.
Okay.
That's always ready to go. So, but I had to go pack all my other clothes, uniforms, gear, all that stuff, and it didn't take me long. I was well back at the hangar within 2 hours, along with my other buddies. So yeah, that's probably one memory that.
Do you still keep up with any of the guys you served with?
You know what? I do on Facebook.
Okay.
But as far as actually talking with them or having seen them, I have not seen them since. Oh my gosh! Since '91, when I left.
Wow.
When I left England.
It's crazy how
to come back to the States when I.
The ebb and flow of life takes you.
Right.
Like you went a different direction, married. Mm-hmm. Did you have any kids out of that marriage?
No, I've been married and divorced 3 times, and I know they say that the military and first responders have quite a high divorce rate, and I'm the picture child of that. And through my third wife, yes, I had a son. I have a son, I should say. He's lives down in Gwinnett County, just outside of Atlanta, Lawrenceville. So that's where he lives, along with his wife. I've got a beautiful little granddaughter, another one on the way.
Oh my goodness! Well, congratulations.
Thank you, sir. And then I also have. Through my ex-wife, and don't get me wrong, I get along. I still get along well. That's my son's mom, and she lives in a town called Noonan, which is just southwest of Atlanta. And so her daughter, my stepdaughter, if you will, I have 2 grandkids through her.
Okay.
So and I consider she's always considered me her dad. I've known her since she was a little girl. I mean, oh gosh, I've known my stepdaughter since the age of 4, 5 years old.
Formative years.
Yes, and she's a beautiful lady. She's 33, 34 now, so she considers me her dad.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I have two grandkids through her and her husband. And like I said, my son has given me a beautiful little granddaughter, and I have another one on the way. So
that's awesome.
I'm blessed.
That's awesome.
Blessed.
So so we get through Mecklenburg County.
Mm-hmm.
What was your favorite aspect of policing? Because you came up in a different time.
Beginning and the end, yes. Like I said at the beginning. There was a lot more respect and people, we stood for something compared to now. And I ended my career at Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office working. I worked at the jail. I worked in quite a few aspects of the jail. I worked in records where I was called. I was a hearing officer. A hearing officer. What that does is, I any of the inmates that commit crimes or whatever, that are bad boys and girls
While they're locked up.
while they're locked up.
Yeah.
I do conduct hearings on them, and then me along with a board that I had, we would adjudicate whether or not they were guilty or not guilty, that type of thing. They'd be sent to a DDU, which is the disciplinary detention unit, or affectionately known as the hole. That's where they'd be put in the hole. So I did that for a while. I worked in records where, as the name suggests, I did a lot of the in processing of new inmates into the jail, and I worked in the actual cell blocks, that type of thing. And
That would not be fun.
It's a job. It's a job where you go to work not knowing, and I'm sure it's the same thing with you. You go to work not knowing what to expect.
Yeah.
It's a job where in the business world, you have an agenda ahead of you. You stop one thing one day and you go to work and you continue on it. In the law enforcement, as well as a firefighter, you go to work not knowing what to expect. You could have nights where you just and when I was on the road as well, where you're just looking for something to stay awake because it's so boring and you fall asleep, that type of thing. And then there are nights where you go to work and you're just begging for extra time to finish off reports and stuff. You've been running your A off all night, all day, getting the job completed. So and like I said, the crap that's the piss, the crap that's literal crap that's thrown on you, the cussing, everything, enough was enough, and I couldn't take it. So that was when I said, my time is up.
Yeah. I mean, and Phil, who is a founding member of Box 1971, talks a lot about, if you're doing this job correctly, it's going to hurt you.
Yes.
Like if you're fighting fire appropriately and you're putting the citizens first, you're taking a beating.
Yes.
With heat and smoke in the environment, and if you're working hard for them, you are exerting a lot of energy and it physically hurts. And there's people that don't understand that when we punch in tomorrow morning when I go to work and I get there before shift and relieve the guy so he can go home early, my brain starts thinking from the time I wake up of things that may or may not happen. And I don't sleep really well at the firehouse. I can sleep, but I don't sleep well. Because your brain is constantly, we have benchmarks. Got to get on the rig in a minute. Got to be rolling in a minute. You got to be XYZ.
Yes.
So your brain is constantly in this state of fight. We're not flight.
Yes.
We're stating all the time, ready to go, ready to go, ready to go.
Exactly.
And the average person doesn't realize that.
You don't have that luxury.
No,
Not at all.
because at the end of the day, the first responders are what holds civilization together. Natural disaster happens. Who's there? First responders. Everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alike. And if we don't show up, chaos will ensue. Chaos ensues until we get there, and then the first 5 minutes, it's still chaos, and then we start to reach, but people don't realize that the mental, and I don't want to call it anguish, but I don't know another verb to eloquently say it, that your brain, if you're doing this job right, you're tired. It's kind of like people that umpire baseball. If you're watching pitches and you're actually tracking pitches and you're seeing pitches come in, yeah, that baseball game may be 2 hours, 10 minutes long, but you've just watched 200, 300 pitches, and your eyes are tired because they've tracked the whole way. Your brain does the same thing. You're constantly reassessing, reevaluating what's working, what's not working. We get a call, we start immediately formulating a game plan.
Sure.
And you're the same way. If you're in a radio car by yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you're formulating, somebody calls out and says we got a, problem over at XYZ address, that you're formulating your plan of how am I going to handle this until help arrives because I'm the cavalry for right now.
That's right.
And the average taxpayer, if you will, or citizen or visitor or whatever you want to call them, doesn't realize that this job does take a lot out of you.
You know, you brought up a good point. You talk about you being the cavalry until the actual cavalry does arrive. That you're it, and you're the problem solver until you do have your backup. You asked me earlier, you know, what were some of my memories as a law enforcement officer being on the road, and I'll always remember. Here's another one. Is I remember going to work. I wasn't on duty yet, but I was headed to work. I was working the mid shift. It started at 5 in the evening, and I'd work till 3 in the afternoon. I'm sorry, till 3 in the morning.
Jesus Christ.
And yeah, actually that was the shift I enjoyed because that's where you had all the action. So the thing about it is, and it was right outside of my neighborhood. I remember I had my radio on, and they called for a call for service of a suspicious circumstance or one guy in a domestic dispute with his significant other, and it was maybe a mile or so away from where I was, and I wasn't on duty, but I called in service and I said I'm nearby. I'll take the call. So I went down this dusty old country road, county road, and I met in with this guy in a truck, and he was just walking around his truck, and I said I figured out after talking with him that this was the suspect that they needed. So he went in. His door was open. The driver's side door was open, and he went into his cab, and he said, "I'm tired of living. I can't do this anymore." And I'm thinking to myself, "Oh crap, here we go." Naturally, I was behind my patrol car's the door, the driver's door, and I had my hand on my sidearm, and so he said, "I don't want to live anymore. You're gonna have to kill me." And I'm thinking to myself, "Oh Jesus Christ, here we go, suicide by cop."
Right.
And so he goes, "So you're gonna have to shoot me to get me to stop." I said, "Don't go in there. Don't go into your car." And I kept repeated. And so I immediately got on my radio and said, "I need backup. I need everybody to respond code 3." And at that time, that's emergent. I said, I need backup code 3. And so it was minutes at that time seemed like hours. I mean, it's like everything is in like slow motion. And so he wouldn't stop, and he went into his car, and he started reaching into and I immediately pulled up my sidearm, and I had it right at him, and I was thinking, "Oh Jesus!" I said, "Stop, stop, stop." And luckily enough, he stopped. He came back out, and he fell to his knees and just started crying. And off in the distance, I could hear the sirens, from my backup coming, and that was the sweetest sound I could hear. I got him into cuffs real quick, and yep, I went to his car, and he did have a sidearm on his seat, and he was ready to take a couple shots at me. But I got him. I talked him out of it, and they responded, and that's one of the sweetest sounds is when the cavalry does arrive, and they we took him into custody. So yeah, it's you never know what to expect, my friend.
That is that's wild.
Yep.
I mean, to think about, that could have been the end.
Exactly.
Of
him, me. You never know. But we luckily it went our way, and that's that. So
well, and the the aspect of you being in the right place at the right time probably help things rather than hinders things.
Training, it's training takes over. Having done it so many, when I say not doing that, but being put in those scenarios, being put in those situations, and the training, it takes over. And thank God for the continuous training that we do have that makes you react, in a way that's by the book, that won't get you in any trouble.
So two things that just came to mind while you were telling that story. One, I was watching at the end of December a TikTok of all things, and the TikTok had the Miami-Dade Metro police department, sheriff's department's the same thing. They have a autonomous vehicle now in Miami, and they say that this is not to replace law enforcement officers because they have to have people, they have to have boots on the ground, right? Not a RoboCop. It's just an autonomous vehicle that has a drone that can be deployed and be, like, from communications headquarters, be viewed. Miami has shot spotters, microphones all over the city that triangulate.
Sure.
So what this is doing is you're driving down the road, you see a cop car, everybody instinctively slows down, right?
Sure.
This thing's got license plate readers on it, all sorts of stuff, but it's a way to have continuous policing and have the cops, the actual police human out doing real things like what you were doing. I mean, it's not going to take calls, right? But it's going to do that. It's going to be a presence in a community that, something happens, you see that, you're like, oh my God, is that a human or is that the autonomous car? It doesn't matter. We'll straighten up. So that to me is interesting that they're doing that. But I was thinking about how you were talking about how you guys had to guard this and be here when you were in the Air Force, and then, going to that call. Obviously, that radio car, you being in that radio car was more important than a autonomous vehicle. But the aspect of our training coming back and that repetition, I was watching another video on another social media site of a bear attack, a brown bear attack. And the gentleman told me, or not told me, good Lord, he said on the video that everybody has a plan until the sugar turns to shit.
Mm-hmm.
And when the sugar turned to shit, his gun misfired.
Oh, my God.
The bear attacked him, bit his jaw, and picked him up by his jaw. And lifted him up and bit him in the leg and in the arm. And somebody shot and got the bear off of him, right? And he was bleeding. But everybody has a plan until it happens.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have that instinct, fight or flight, right? And a violently executed plan today is better than a great plan tomorrow.
Sure.
And so the aspect of being able to sync to the level you're training, if you're not running your mind through those situations like we do at work, we're constantly on go.
Exactly.
You weren't even on the clock yet.
No.
And you could have had a bad day for yourself and a myriad of consequences. You may have had to discharge your service weapon. He may have shot himself or you. All of those things play in your mind, and it's milliseconds of a decision.
Sure.
The problem is everybody gets to sit back and have complete autonomy and quarterback it.
Exactly.
That's the one thing that always has struck me is that people just sit back and they make a decision on something that
couch quarterback.
Yeah, that's tough.
Unless you've lived it and you know exactly how it feels, people can't really appreciate the boo-boo that we all have to go through. But
boo-boo, he means shit.
That's right. That too. Exactly.
Yeah.
For the folks out there, I was telling good old Jeremy here. It's the start of 26. Few months into 26. One of my resolutions is I'm trying not to swear anymore. That's one of my resolutions. Is, oh my God, every other word out of my mouth is a French word. So I'm trying to cut down on the swearing and use a better. Not as foul language as I'm accustomed to using in the past. So if I slip up, excuse me. It's new to me.
It's new to me.
Exactly.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. There's ways to make strives for yourself, right? Like you want to be a better version of you. There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
And one of the things that I always have enjoyed about hanging out with you is the authentic self.
Keep it real, brother.
Yeah, you are straight up and down like 6 o'clock.
And I guess that can be a bad point. I guess a lot of the cop comes out of me sometimes is I speak my mind. I speak my mind, and that I have no problem, telling somebody, F off or whatever. And one of my little being retired right now is to get out of my better half's hair. As you know for this, Jeremy's, I have my little part-time job where I work up at the club shop at the country club, and I work in the pro shop there. So it's fun. I've been up there for a couple of years, and when a member or somebody gets in my skin, I've got to be polite, and I've got to bite my tongue, which is very hard to do because the cop comes out sometimes, and I'll tell him exactly what to do.
Well, I mean, we've been golfing and things have happened.
Yep.
And
Yep.
you're just like, you see that.
Look at this. Well, you look at this piece of,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, it's good. Like right now, I mean, it's beautiful. We need to go play some golf, brother.
I think we should after we're done here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Start this day off right. So you leave Mecklenburg, you leave Charlotte. By the
Right.
way, beautiful home down there.
Oh, thank you.
Beautiful home.
Yep.
Leave there, and you end up
In Henderson.
in Honesson.
Yep. So I lived in Charlotte from 2007 until, oh my God, when did I move up here? I moved up here. Well, March of this year will be 3 years. So 23.
Yeah.
23. So I lived in Charlotte for 16, 17 years, and then I've been in Henderson. March is going to be 3 years. Bought a brand new home up here, and that's where I've been living most of my retirement, working in the clubhouse. And I moved up here for family reasons. My other half, my mom and dad are getting on. Sadly, her dad passed away last year, so it's been a bittersweet time, but we're taking care of her mom, and she's she's the love of our life, so that's the main reason why we moved up here, was for family reasons. And I got to tell you, I'm not a big city guy. I love the country. I love Henderson. I really do. It's a small town. What's it? 15,000 people. It's a small town, but it's beautiful. It's got everything that I need. It's got my golf. I live on the golf course. I live off the 18th fairway, so it's nice. In fact, my other home that you were talking about in Charlotte, I used to live on a golf course there called the Divide.
Yep.
Was the name of the golf course, and I used to live off the 16th fairway. In fact, my house sat right behind the 16th green, and so yeah, it's golf is definitely
You replaced tennis with golf.
exactly. So when I moved from when I got to Charlotte until now, golf has definitely come back into my life.
Well, then that's how we met. We
Yep.
actually met
Exactly
at
when
the clubhouse
I remember the day when you came and signed up for
membership.
and
Yeah.
I got you signed up, and you got with the general manager, and we've stuck together like glue. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's
Because we have the same mentality, man. You
Right.
know, that's how it is. We keep it real, man.
Yeah, and a lot of people can't. There are people in life that I read somewhere. You're going to meet 3 people in life. You're going to meet the truth teller, that's going to tell you where your shit's messed up, right? And then you're going to meet your confidant, the person, your rabbi, you can go talk to, and they're going to keep everything locked up inside, right? And then you're going to meet your ride or die. And so you meet those 3 people in life, the person that's never going to leave your side. And people fill different roles in people's lives. And it's funny to me because authenticity, I hate to use that word so much, but people are not authentic with each other anymore. There's so much just, I'm getting through, I've got to go here, I've got to go there. One thing that I think about with you and I using golf as our outlet, if you will, is that it forces us to slow down, even though we play super fast.
Yeah, that's how we are. Yeah,
we gotta go now. We're in the moment.
sure.
We're not, we'll put on some tunes.
Yeah.
I'll smoke
smoke some cigars.
Yeah.
Go lose some balls, man. Go traipsing through the woods and get thorned to death. But hey,
have some fun.
Exactly.
But for those 2 to 4 hours,
let our hair down on your bald head and my little crew cut. Yep.
we are able to relax. And I guess if you don't take anything else out of this, is just to learn to relax.
Exactly.
Not smell the roses. I hate that analogy, but just
true.
You recently rescued a cat.
Oh my gosh, my little boy, little Rhett. We and in fact the way that happened was the head pro at Henderson Country Club. Or should I say his name?
Oh, yeah, Timmy.
Yeah, old Tim. Yeah, good old Tim. In fact, you need to if you want good golf. Here's a little. Here's a push for him. If you want golf lessons, this guy is a PGA professional, and it's unbelievable.
He's like a +4 handicap.
Yeah, he's a +4, +5 of the club. Tim Gupton. He's very good. But anyhow, we were having a tournament at the club, and he was the starter up on the first tee, and a little kitten came out of the bushes. And so he knew I was a big animal lover. And so he came into the club shop and said, "Hey, man, I found a little cat. You want to take him home?" And I thought he was just pulling my leg. But anyhow, when I was getting ready to leave, I went up to the first green, and he said, "He's still there in the bushes." And I called for the little cat. He came hopping out like a little bunny right to my feet, looked up at me, meowed, and I said, "Oh, my God, you're coming home with me." Took him home to the missus, and now we have Rhett. He's a little boy, Rhett, and when we got him at the time, took him to the vet. The vet said that he was no more than 4.5 weeks old, weighed 1.3 pounds, tiny little thing, but he's just been our world. So and I have another cat that we found that's also a stray that was through the woods that we adopted. So we have 2 cats, 3 dogs. We have 2 120-pound labs. We have a champagne colored and a charcoal lab, and then we have an adopted Shih Tzu, which was my other half's, her mom and dad's Shih Tzu that we're looking after, and the 2 cats. So we're definitely a family of animals.
So for those that are listening, Piers is so much an animal lover, he will show you a picture of the cat sleeping on his head. Or
my God.
his dogs.
Yes.
So there are stairs built into the pool for the dogs.
That use the dogs use the pool more than we do. It's nothing more than a glorified dog bath. I cannot, from 7 in the morning. I cannot in the summertime, cannot keep those damn dogs out of the pool. So yeah, they're always in the pool and they're out. It's just in their DNA. So yeah, it's a lovely thing.
Yeah, but they bring you happiness.
Speaking of, you adopted a dog yourself.
Little Charlie.
I mean, it's so sad, but it's one that you found when you went to a call for service. Yeah. Where
the night the chief got in the wreck was actually the night we grabbed that dog.
And thank God they found that little dog. He found his forever home.
Yeah, he that dog is living his best life.
Oh God, that's how it should be.
Yeah,
that's how it should be.
He curled up with me last night, and we watched a movie together, and he put himself to bed.
As does little Rhett. When he's tired, he puts himself. He has a little blankie, on our bed. So if you can imagine a California king, we've got 3 dogs, 2 cats, and the 2 of us all in one bed, and it, needless to say, can be in an uncomfortable sleep once in a while, and that they all have to sleep next to us, next to mommy and daddy.
They want you're their pack.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, that's good. Well, you got any trips planned or anything?
Well, like I said earlier, we want to go. I want to take the missus down to Barbados, to my old stomping ground when I used to go to school there in Barbados. So she's never been to Barbados. We do like to travel. We travel quite a bit, mainly throughout since COVID. We've kept our travels stateside rather than overseas. So,
sure.
Other than that, yeah, we're probably going to venture outside the U.S. this year. If we'll go to Barbados, we want to go back to San Juan. We both love San Juan, and then we want to take a trip back home to Grenada where she can see my family.
I want to go, since I have been to Nicaragua, and seen the cigar factories there and all that. I want to go to Cuba, but I'm conflicted.
You know what? Since the what's the word that I'm looking for? It's been kind of eased off as far as travels between Havana and the U.S. It's a lot easier now. I heard that's a beautiful spot.
Yeah.
One of my good dear friends that I used to be a that used to be a deputy with me down at Mecklenburg County. He went to Havana with him and his wife, and told me that it's an absolutely beautiful a city.
Right.
We've talked about going to Havana, and that type of thing, but it's kind of iffy with the world being as it is. Yeah.
And I don't speak Spanish very well, and I've talked with Mario, and I'm not trying to put words in his mouth, but we've had conversations about, his family fled in exile and came to America, and his dad was an electrician. He passed during COVID. Mario is just a sweetheart of a human being. Won a bunch of awards down there for proactive policing. He's the real deal. Blessed to call him my friend, and he has a very staunch view of how Cubans are treated, and I would love nothing more than to have him go with me, just as kind of a safeguard. In full disclosure, my favorite cigar in the world is a Monte Cristo No. 2 Pyramid, and I just think it's a great cigar. It's been a great cigar for 20-something years that I've been smoking. And,
Wow.
I would like to go see where they're made. Nothing more than just to put my eyes on it and have a visit. Obviously, it's illegal to bring cigars home.
Right.
But, just go down there and see what it's really like. Because you hear things, right? It's kind of like when people talk about other people. People say this guy's an asshole or this girl's an asshole and they're no good. And then you meet them and you're like, I don't have that vibe.
No.
And I also believe that everybody doesn't get the same version of someone because of how they treat them.
You talk about wanting to go down there to seeing the cigar factories. That was a trip that I took with my good friend that I was just talking about, who lives down in Charlotte. His wife and my better half and myself, we took a trip a couple of years ago. We went down to Miami. We're foodies.
I love Miami.
Oh my God! And so we decided to take a long weekend. We went down there on a Thursday and came back on a Sunday. All four of us, and we stayed in Little Havana, down in Miami. We love Latin food. That's one of our favorites, is Latin food. So we went down there for like 4 nights. And we ate in as many Latin restaurants as we could. But while we were down there, we went to one of my favorite cigars to smoke is Padrones.
Oh, yeah.
Padron, and they're one of the main factories is in Miami.
Yeah, that's where their headquarters is.
Right. So we got a chance to purchase authentic, firsthand Padron cigars. And, being from the States, there was no, being made here, there was no restrictions on them, that type of thing. So we hounded up on the Padrones, and I had that luxury of actually visiting there and grabbing me some. Oh, yeah.
So, there's a couple cool things about that. I'm a big Karen Burger guy. So Karen's farm and factory, and her box factory is on the opposite side of the mountain from the Padron fields.
Oh.
And so I have got to meet the Padron family.
Wow.
Yeah, very, very cool. They don't advertise.
What? Yeah.
They advertise in like Cigar Journal, but you don't see, they don't have reps. They don't have like like how at the golf shop you'll have a Titleist rep or a Callaway rep come in.
Yep.
There's no Padron reps in the world. If you want to sell Padron cigars, you have to get on a list. They have a process that they have in-house, and they decide if you're worthy enough to buy their cigars. And every cigar is also numbered. Very painstaking process, but that's how they eliminate the counterfeits, because their cigars are something else, but they take the time. And I love a good Padron. The Hammer is one of my favorites, or the 1926.
But your cigar collection, buddy, is off the chain. I mean, you have. I just
a walk-in humidor.
I just had the pleasure of walking through his walk-in, not just a humidor box, a walk-in humidor, and my God, the collection is unbelievable. Like I said, I love Padrones and then Olivas. Oh my God, Olivas or the Melanias. Oh my God,
the Serie V.
Oh yeah.
So another Karen Burger tie.
Oh, is it?
So the wrapper on that is a Mexican San Andreas, and that's obviously grown in Mexico. The binder and the filler for the Melanio Serie V, which was Cigar of the Year.
You're a walking damn cigar dictionary, man.
Yeah. That's all. The binder and the filler is grown on Karen's farm and sold to Oliva.
I'll be damned.
So you're truly smoking. The only thing that's Oliva about that cigar is the rolling and the band that goes on it that says it's an Oliva.
Mm-hmm.
So the binder and the filler comes from Karen's farm, and the wrapper comes from Mexico.
Oh, my gosh. But yeah, those are the two go-to cigars, my friend.
Yes.
Love it.
Yes.
Love it.
Well, Santa Claus dropped you off some.
He
some
sure
small
did.
ones.
Sure did. I got presented with a whole thing of Olivas, man. That was so nice of you. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate
Just
that.
hide them from the cardiologist and the old lady.
Yeah,
all right?
shh, not so loud. Not so loud. I don't want people to hear that. But yeah, my cardiologist would have a fit if she knew that.
Yeah, buddy. Well, look, what's next for you? What are you gonna do?
Well, like I said, my life revolves around just I'm an early riser. I love watching the sunrise. I open up the golf shop at the Henderson Country Club, so that's my thing. I work there from 6:30 or so in the morning until 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Then I'll probably go play around, wait for you to call me and say, hey, let's go play. This guy, man, he gets off of work 7 o'clock, drives about an hour and 15 minutes to get home, comes up to the club, and then has a 9 o'clock tea time where he comes and plays golf. He doesn't put himself to bed, man, till about 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Which, Jesus Christ, man, I'd be in a coma.
Well, that's the struggle of a single-digit handicap. You have to keep it.
Exactly.
If you
a
want
lot
to
of
play.
work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. I mean, you see the simulator here.
Yep.
And the work that goes in here.
And the toys, man, the toys. Ooh, I love the toys that you have.
I've got my original set of golf clubs there. I've been trying to get my mom to let me have my dad's sticks. Mom and I played together. Mom has not played since Dad passed until she played with me last summer.
And your mom's in Ohio.
Yes.
Right.
And
right.
We went and played, and I took my dad's 1-iron out. My dad always said, I carry a 1-iron because God himself can't hit it.
Can't hit it. That's
So
hold that son for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you're in a storm,
Yeah.
God himself can't hit a damn 1-iron. That's right.
So we were playing at a little course that I grew up playing. It's not an executive course. It's a short course, but it's not just par threes.
Exactly.
And, it was too much to play a driver for me, and it was way in between like of a 3-wood. So I was like, I'll hit this, and I stroked that thing about 230, and Mom looked at me and she was like, "Wow."
And when your dad used to play with it, could he hit it?
Yeah. Dad was a stick.
He would stroke that club. Huh?
Dad was a stick. Even after. Yeah. So my dad had 57 surgeries during his life. He was involved in a car accident when I was a kid. I was actually in middle school, 6th grade. They came and got us out of class, and I had to go down to the guidance counselor, Mr. Hansen, and he said, I've got something I need to tell you. I said, okay. And he says, your dad's been involved in a car accident. I was like, okay, whatever. Dad was invincible. I mean, Dad was,
right,
6'3", big dude, wrestled, football player. Dad's giant, right? I mean, his hands were like bear paws. I mean, he had big grips on his clubs before they were a thing. And he got life flighted. A kid fell asleep, hit him head on.
God bless.
They had to cut my dad out. They life flighted him, met down at the hospital, Grant, downtown Columbus. Dr. Lombardi, who did all of the knee surgeries on all the athletes at Ohio State and did all these things for professional athletes.
Oh, we're not going to discuss that. Don't do that.
What?
Ohio State. Go ahead.
Yeah. So he put my dad's knees back together. My dad had a 10-inch steel plate. I think it was steel, but we still have it. My dad said he wanted that plate. It's in the den with 10 screws to hold his femur together. They took out some guts, and they had to do a little bit of cosmetic surgery. So my dad didn't really walk that well after the accident. Now, this is a guy that played softball, was active. He called it guerrilla golf. He would stand up on the black tees and just pound the ball, but then had this touch around the green that would just piss you off, because you're like...
No body movement, so everything was just arms, yeah.
Yeah, and it was just... Playing with him was a childhood core memory, right? I mean, riding horses with Dad growing up, doing things, hunting, etc., camping. Those were all really good memories. But the accident, he had to go to a rehab facility to learn how to walk. Then knee replacements and things like that. But what got him in the end was a massive heart attack, and he walked in and told my mom, "I don't feel good." We were in Lumberton, North Carolina, teaching a class, me and Shooter, and my dad called me, and we were having a cigar, and sitting by the poolside. And he says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm just sitting here hanging out with Shooter. We're teaching. Got 3 days left in front of us, and we're just hanging out." And he's like, "I just wanted you to know I loved you." I said, "I appreciate that, Dad. I love you too." And
Thinking nothing of it.
nothing of it. Went into the bathroom and came out, told my mom he didn't feel good. And if you listen to what I just said, knee replacements, guys like that don't get on their knees.
No.
And he went into a prayer position on the edge of the bed, and that was it. And Mom was there, and thank God she was. She didn't walk in and find something. She was actually there. So that is where my affinity for golf came from, and that's been my stress relief. Golfed in Hawaii, Alaska. Every state I've ever been to, I played golf in, and I only lack 3 states of being done with all the states in our country. Played golf in Canada, played golf in Mexico. I haven't played golf.
Scotland.
Yeah, Scotland. There's no golf courses that I know of in Nicaragua that I saw. There probably is a Managua somewhere, but I just didn't have the time or inclination to play. But
And we're so fortunate to live in, they call it what, the golf capital of the states
this is
the
the
Carolinas?
Home of, the home of American golf is here.
It's in the Carolinas, yeah.
So, being able to run down and shoot down and play Pinehurst, and everybody talks about number
Sure.
2, but, 10 and 8 are damn good golf courses too. And everything at Pinehurst is great. And that is Donald Ross inspired from, in the Wayback Machine, from Big Tom Morris. He worked for him, and he came over to America and designed a bunch of courses. There's a bunch of Donald Ross courses close to us here in Virginia. There's a 9-hole course, and the ability to play good golf is all around us here.
Mm-hmm.
The McConnell Group's got some really good golf courses, and
Living in Charlotte, my other half, she lived about a mile away from Quail Hollow, big golf course down.
what a track!
Yeah, and in Charlotte, and then where I used to live, I was about when I first moved here. There's another golf course down there. In fact, it was the home golf course of Webb Simpson.
Yeah.
Piper Glen.
Yeah.
I've ever heard of it.
Yeah.
Piper Glen. So what's the singer's Jennifer Hudson?
Yep.
She has a house on got a chance to go on that course of Piper Glen, not Quail Hollow, of course. I mean, you gotta be a freaking senator or something to play that damn course.
Not
But,
a senator have played it.
But you have God bless if
It
you've
was
had the
tough.
chance. Been to Quail Hollow several times, for the the Wells Fargo and when they have the Wells Fargo. But yeah, I had a chance to do Piper Glen, and those are the only 2 big courses down there that I know of in the Charlotte area. But never had a chance to do Pinehurst. Never been to Pinehurst. You know what? Here's something
That's a
else.
good walking course too.
What's a good walking course? If folks, Henderson Country Club, not a walking course. Not a lot of ups and downs, and I mean, if you want good exercise, you can walk it, but you're going to be sweating your what off.
Well, for the month before I played in Scotland, I walked and carried.
Oh yeah. You got to on those courses,
But
they're flat.
yeah, but I mean, I walked and carried at Henderson. And
You carried.
Yeah, I
Oh,
carried.
shoot.
I only played like 5 or 6 rounds with a cart, just because I played with other people, like with you or David.
Sure.
But the courses there, and I will say this, like the the Castle course in Kingsbarns, if I had to tote my own bag and not pay somebody else, because you have to have a caddy, it would have been a struggle. But I played really good golf over there. The weather really helped. I'm not looking forward to if it starts raining and blowing, because
The humidity will kill you here, brother.
yeah, here is really tough, but it was cool, right? Because that tournament's always in the last week of March, first week of April. So, going over there it's just different. It's a different feel. It's like a step back in time,
And you know what? Here's one thing that when I was stationed over there, that many people don't realize is how far north Scotland actually is.
It's way up there.
Oh, buddy, listen. When I went and visited Edinburgh and the St. Andrews area.
Yeah.
Me and my wife, my first wife at the time, we went all the way up to Loch Ness, which is at the tip of
Highlands.
of Scotland, up in Inverness, Inverness, Scotland. And that was the first time. If you look at a map, the tip of Scotland lies in the Arctic Circle.
It's cold.
It lies in the Arctic Circle.
I think Trump's course is up that way
I'm
somewhere.
I'm not sure, but I'll tell you what. This was the very first time I did not know this, but when we went up to Inverness, I got up for some reason at 1 o'clock in the morning, looked out my hotel room, and it was like duskish, not bright sunlight, but it was almost like when the sun's going down, like the mood you get when it's dusk, that light
Right.
that you get. And I looked out my window, and it was duskish, and I said, "Damn, these are some bright parking parking area lights," but I didn't see any. And what it was the midnight sun. At 1 o'clock in the morning, the sun stays up 24 hours. I mean, it isn't bright sunlight, but that was the first time I had ever experienced the midnight sun. And so, and somebody had explained to me, because them being so far up north, it stays light 24 hours a day, basically, during the summer months. So I know when you went over there in March, April, I mean, the sun, it stays up there, buddy. It comes up early in the morning, and it especially in England. I remember the sun used to come up at 5:30 in the morning, and it would go down in Oxfordshire. It would go down, maybe 10 o'clock at night. But at tip of Scotland, buddy, it's up the whole time.
Yeah, it's neat. It's a beautiful country,
yeah.
and just the history.
Oh yeah.
I'm a big history guy. I love that. I get that from my dad. But yeah, that's good. Well, buddy, we've been at this
Yes, we have.
almost 2 hours.
Okay. Yeah,
so
I'm a little parched.
yeah,
I think Waffle House is calling us.
I think
man.
it is. I believe it is. Smothered and covered ends up tattered and splattered.
That's right. You got that right.
So we close this out with some words of wisdom. I don't know if you have any words or something that somebody's imparted upon you, or some little nugget of information. Or
Well, I'll
advice.
always remember one thing that my dad always taught me is if you're not sure whether something is right or wrong in doing it, don't do it. You get in less trouble if you don't do it rather than if you do, because if you're not supposed to do it and you go ahead and do it, you're in more trouble than if you don't do it. So my word of wisdom is, if you're not sure whether or not you're supposed to do something, don't do it.
I'll tag on to that and say that you shouldn't worry about the opinion of others that you wouldn't seek advice from.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in this society, with how we are digitally attached to our phones and computers and tablets, that we tend to worry about too much of what other people think or do. And sometimes we forget to just, we get one shot at this whole thing.
Sure.
And the legacy that we live is not that of, what we thought of others, but how we treated others, how we
Exactly.
did things, because at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, people aren't going to know your career or your story.
Well,
But they'll remember how you taught them or treated them.
I've thoroughly enjoyed this session with you.
Yeah, bro.
I've never ever talked so much about myself.
Yeah.
But you stirred up a lot of memories. You stirred up a lot of thoughts that I had forgotten about. And so this having this little meeting here with you has been wonderful, especially with you being my closest bud that I have. So I really appreciate that, and we need to continue this out on the golf course.
That's
friend.
right. Well, the other thing about this too is this is memorialized, right? So your grandkids will be able to hear things.
True.
It's a great way to share information and not interrupted, right? We're sitting here in the firehouse just hanging out, smoking a cigar.
Exactly. And 2 hours. Good Lord. I didn't think I could talk that much.
Yeah, you've almost hit it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you turning into the Halligans and Half Wheels podcast presented by Box 1971. Remember to train hard. We are all that they have.